Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ESA League. And oh my lord, it is looking exciting as things are starting to heat up. Taking a look over towards this upper bracket, we're starting to get closer and closer to all the way to these upper bracket finals. And if you take a look today very quickly, the game that we are going to be watching is ENVISION Esports going up against Ghost Army. And two teams that have been very, very strong. But I'm McCready. Joining me today is Mighty, I believe. And if there's anyone who can say something about this game, it's got to be yourself.
I will just, first of all, say, hello there, ESA fans. Hello, eSport friends, and so on. We got ourselves a banger match. As we already said, ENVISION against their guys of Ghost Army. It is a banger match. Come on, let's speak about it. We are in the close endings of this phase. We are in the semifinals of the upper bracket. So these teams, they're not here because they want to play Siege. They're here because they can play Siege. And especially on that high format as we have so far. But let's look a little bit into those teams. How have they played the past days? We got some information about ENVISION, both also Ghost Army, with just starting with ENVISION. ENVISION has had 5 games since ESA. Last time where they won 2-0 against Retirement Home. Those were on Clubhouse and also on Cafe. 4 losses, 1 win currently out of those 5 games since the last ESA match. With a current 2-time losing streak on RSX, both against LDL and also Minions, both losing 2-0 against those teams. A little bit inconsistency is making themselves wide in ENVISION, with them really need to looking into their maps and just correctly themselves, because they're playing the same maps and they're winning and also losing the same maps. So is the big difference just the opponents that they meet? Or is it just they're struggling a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the stats and they really don't lie. I mean, sometimes you just see. I mean, it worries me when I see a team and they're not able to kind of hit the ground running on maps, because when I see teams that they make it it's very hard to avoid the fact that you're struggling on a map, and that's something that other teams will pick up on and will try and force you to. So I think if you Ghost Army, you're looking at that map bands, you kind of know exactly where you want to kind of push it. But in terms of ENVISION, there's definitely work to be done. But still, honestly, I'm looking at the playoffs so far. They've done quite well in it at the moment. And I believe, they're currently 3-0 on the stats I'm seeing here. And I feel like moving into this, they have been quite a strong team. But the only thing for me is they might have taken a bit of time to warm up in a couple of these games. And that's something that we'll find out very quickly, whether we'll see Ghost Army being able to take advantage of it, or whether ENVISION will just take maybe that one game, just kind of wake up a little bit, get into the speed of things, and really start to show us that strong form we've seen so far. Now, taking a look at the actual game so far, now we can always talk left, right, and center about everything that we might want to see, we might expect to see, but there's also somebody else that we need to take into account, and that is the socials as well, and what do you think about that? So if we take a look here, the predictions very, very, I think it's typical in this league, really, that ENVISION's going to be the favorite so far when we look at these predictions. But when you also take a look at the social vote, that's coming through quite heavily, isn't it?
Definitely. Like having a 70 to 30% on the social vote just shows how much strength and also beliefs has been put into this roles of ENVISION. Especially, they are the favorites here. We got ourselves a best of 3, so they have 2 maps that they need to perform on. One they potentially could lose, with not hurting them so much. But the trust of the audience is very in the hands of this team of ENVISION. Especially also when we're just talking through, they have had some difficulties. They're having a little bit lack of faith in themselves, being so inconsistent on these maps, not really saving themselves on maps where they normally say that we're quite good on, we're quite steady on those, and they've been struggling a little bit on those now. And it's all about them today, just finding their consistency back and also fighting through on the maps that they really can and that they have shown past the weeks that they can play. And so on, that may be the major factor. And when we talk about maps, let's look at the map, man.
Yeah, so coming up right up the gate is going to be that skyscraper pick. We can see Border, Nighthaven, Cap and Consular being taken away very, very quickly. And I'm not really surprised. A lot of teams don't really like Nighthaven. A lot of people don't like it in general, especially with Border. It's a very, very aggressive game. And if you're ENVISION and you have what we said, where it's the consistency, it's, are we warming up enough for this? That's when you kind of worry about Border and say, well, maybe not. Skyscraper, though, getting that map, yes, you're on the attack on the start, but then you get that defense, and it is a map that feels really, really comfortable as defense. when you are able to get in that groove. Maybe if you haven't been able to get exactly where you need to be right now, it's a good starting point. They've just got to get through that attack inside. On the flip side, though, the Chalet map, I feel like this is where we're going to see Ghost Army really just say, well, we're just going to go to a simple map. We know what we're doing on here. We're going to try and just take that early advantage. And I don't blame them.
Absolutely. And as of the last map, the potential decider, we got ourselves the most standard map that we got in the map pool. It's Oregon, so-called Oregon. Let's have it. If we see a decider, it is a very good map to have. Yes, it is boring for some of the audience in the crowd saying that, but it's a map that is dealt with by standards only. And having like these two teams guide up and play each other on a map like that, where everything depends on how good you know the standards and also how forcingly you can pull those upon the your opponents on that map, may be the deciding factor if you hit grand final in the upper stage or not. And that is, in my factor, a very, very good standing and a very good map to have. But let's get back in retro perspective. We got ourselves also some stats on the guys of Ghost Army. Ghost Army has a currently 4-game winning streak stretched over both the Cross League, the UKSA, and also the ESA. It is a team very good and very consistent on standard maps like Oregon, like Clubhouse, like Chalet, but it's also very dominant on the newer maps like Nighthaven Labs, where multiple teams are struggling. Like, just saying it, Nighthaven got played by Mafia Gang recently, and they got a 7-0 win in crossing against that game. What's also a very good, well-resumed German-speaking team. As well, we saw the map bans. We're going on Skyscraper. I hate to break it to you guys. ENVISION picked that map, even though they just priorly lost it, 7-1 against LDL. And as we saw in the bracket of the map ban, ENVISION picked Skyscraper. Well, they're starting in the attack. And they're starting in a map that is so defender-based. What are your opinions of that?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, that second half, that's when they might really feel a bit more comfortable, but they've got to get to that point first. Skyscraper is a map that it's got quite a number of choke points, especially on that top floor. And you think about if there's good coordination coming through, so maybe from an Osa, maybe from a Blackbeard, or even just a buck down below, they can really put pressure on these defenders. And as an attacking team, still trying to make that work can be really, really difficult, especially if the defenders are already aware of what they want to get done and how they want to do this. But like you say, we can talk about it, we can guess, we can predict to our heart's content. There's only one way we're going to find out how this does happen, Mighty, how this all goes down, and that is going to be by watching this game. This game is going to kick off, and these map operator bans have already been done. Starting us off with the Dockerby, Flores, Fenrir, and Solace. Now, the last two defenders, they're really not surprising me. Very, very powerful, very aggressive. The Dockerby and the Flores, though, not typically what you do expect to see. I've noticed we've seen a lot of shield bans and ying bans coming out in this league, Mighty.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
I was completely blown away here. You left me sitting here because I did not read in that we are going in with already 1-0 standing here. Sorry, guys. I just lost myself for a second here. I just needed to find out why.
Ghost Army's late. So Ghost Army's late, which is why they've got the penalty point of 1 round, which means then there's such a massive advantage for the attacking side because, well, you got to think, ENVISION, we just spoke about why we were kind of worried about this. Well, we don't have to be anymore because they've already got that opening pick on the board. Now, this does mean that on the attack, they have a round in pocket. Typically, you want to have like a 2-4 or maybe a 3-3 split. Well, that's just made their life a little bit easier. Now, the one thing I'm looking at on this side over at CEO is I like to see what Claim's doing already with these mirror windows. And I'm liking the fact that that breach isn't actually open, isn't reinforced just yet. They could open it with that shotgun and use it to maybe get that opening pick on someone who's not ready. Regardless, so we are seeing the glads come out, so we are going to see Shiro going to look at utilizing those smoke grenades, using that alongside with Vasi of that thermite, try and get this open and try and do it without getting murdered. Round will tick off though, and those weak jammers will make themselves painfully aware, especially to the Nomad, who is going to be rendered ineffective because of it.
Definitely. And as we just see through the drone work putting in by ENVISION here, they're getting immediately knocked back by these mute jammers. Yeah, it is a short-term, very closed-in map that just straves upon not giving you the space to jump properly. And how do we see the first kills popping in by both Klein and Iron, getting both Rizrez and Vazy out of the match? That's the termite gone. The one heartbeat that you probably will need for entering that spot. Now we got Dipsy in and walking down beneath with the blitz, searching for someone on the close hatch. Won't find anyone. Another drop behind, and the Blitz does not hear the sound properly. Dipsy getting down here by Klein. Klein being a little bit on sportsmanship here. And next one into the Frostmat, getting knocked down. And that is a fast and flawless round, and that's what we're searching for here in the hands of Ghost Army. They're just putting the pressure. Yes, they lost one round because they were a little bit late, but immediately they're into the game. Immediately their heads are straight into the match, and they're just clearing the score with getting this 1-1 in the second round.
Yeah, they were late to the game, but they were there on time for that round, locked in when they needed to be in. What I really think, it all comes down to those first 2 kills that we saw. Like you said, the Thermite, sorry, and the Nomad being taken away. Well, that stopped all those jump outs coming through, and that mute jammer was integral to that. But in doing that, well, suddenly that Thermite's taken off the board. That wall's not getting opened up. We talked about choke points. They are the key parts of that round then. The black stairs, or the main stairs, sorry, going over towards Dragon's side of that single panel wall, it's very, very limited in what you can do, and suddenly that's when the defenders are able to really take advantage of it. We saw the jump out coming through. That means that the attackers are aware that that terrace area is populated. There's someone there to worry about. And then as soon as that happens, well, we see that Blitz has to go downstairs. They can't try and open up that wall and run in because the defenders, that mirror window, is giving that pressure. They can't just rush in. They have to try and find something else to do. At that point there, that's where we really saw ENVISION start to splinter apart in that round. Not necessarily the story of the game so far, but just one round to draw things even. And now we are going to see a Ghost Army heading over towards that T room. And what I really expect to see, Mighty, is a bit more of a roaming setup all the way over towards that east side. And if the attackers are really reading into this, this could be a very fast take.
It could potentially be a fast take, especially when you're also looking in pawn, the attackers or the operators brought into this round. And we are searching or looking for operators that maybe just break the defenders, not being able to roam back without getting detected. We got a Grim, we got ourselves a Lion. Also, we got someone to just, maybe protect off like certain type of angles with the res on the Capital, with also bringing ourselves the first kill by Enter here. And the second, also, we got our long angle holder with the Shiro on the glass. So potentially we are looking for some fast entries, also some fast gains that also then will go over to holding long angles coming on the flat.
Yeah, these mute jammers really can't be the problem here for the attacking side, and Shiro's trying to make sure that they aren't. What we'll see right now is Kinsey, I believe it's pronounced, going down, as is Rizraz. And with Passy playing all over on the window, the damage comes through onto Kane. Shiro's trying to push in, but at the moment there's just not the support, the lines of sight. They're favoring the defenders just a little bit too much. Iron looks for the swing, goes to the brief bar, can't land it. Shot with a C4 from Goldie, is going. It lands and it finds Shiro. And Ghost Army trying to stop this in its tracks as NT's able to find an answer. Time ticking down halfway through the round, and the attackers need to get some meaningful gains here. They haven't really got control of that black top.
Yeah, that for instance was also just looking into like the dedication ENVISION brings in here. Yeah, they're losing guys on, especially losing Shiro on the C4, but immediately being able to just refrag a situation out of that. Yeah, Klein was very low on HP, but just bringing that operator out of the grounds, because Skyscraper is so close combated. There's so many angles, so many rooms, so many angle points and crossovers possible here. Every single operator in the defense that you can try to knock out from like holding an angle is a big win for you in the attackers, because you need to be in the massive outer number. You don't need to be outnumbered. You need to be more on the table than the defenders, because the defenders have it easier to hold angles and also recover long angles on this map than the attacker have to gain them. And so then we always need to look if you lose someone in the attack, you immediately need to refrag.
Yeah, and that's what you can see right now as the attackers are pushing up those black stairs. The util goes out, and suddenly you see the reposition come through. Goldie's able to find Dipsy, will take them off the board. Passy has to look for the refrag, but it's going to be Empty who finds it instead. A 2 versus 2, the wall bang from Geisha from Tom is beautiful, and it finds one mark, but it hasn't found a second just yet. Empty can make it happen. The bees are there, but with 3 seconds ticking down and the crossfire from Ghost Army, it's just not going to happen. Very, very well, good read into that end round, I think, for Ghost Army. They repositioned beautifully for it.
A beautiful reposition, getting yourself the cross on, and I would say very perfectly done from Ghost Army. Yes, you lost 3 guys against Enter, but Enter was really the one and only guy putting pressure on by Envy onto the sides. But then immediately you get the outnumbered situation. You're more in man count. You get on the cross angles, and then you immediately make it to just pinch down ENVISION on one position. You had 3 guys on one position, and they rather need to push you on one side and just focus on one, and you're getting crossed by the second operator. So beautiful defense hold here by Ghost Army with a very well-deserved hold and also a strong hold, after my opinion, granting them the second point in round number 3. Now gaining the advantage of leading here with 2-1.
Yeah, exactly. Now for ENVISION, this is where I'd say, okay, you know, you've had your couple of rounds. Now it's time to start warming up. Now it's time to get into this game a little bit more. We've seen, like you say, some good moments coming out from NT at the moment, but at the moment he's the only person on the side of ENVISION to get a kill in these 2 rounds. That's something you really would like to see be a little bit better a couple of rounds into the board, especially if you're looking to try and push forward to that grand finals. Right now, though, I want to give a shout out to that 6th defender that we always love to talk about. It's going to be time. Tying up that last round in a neat little ribbon. And it's something Ghost Army's done so very well. They've wasted this time and they've managed to utilize it to force ENVISION into these difficult situations. So ENVISION, if we're really going to see these frags start to come through, we need to see a little bit more speed, a little bit more coordination on these early rounds, taking control of where you need to go, so that it just buys you a little bit more time for the end of the round. Now, Ghost Army, they're just going to start backing up. They've seen the drones. They know the players are there. Then they know that they know, if that makes sense. And now they're aware ENVISION have to drone it. They have to roam clear, and that is going to waste time.
Definitely. And the same as we just talked about, they take off so much time from the clock, but also another factor is they're pinching down ENVISION not being able to just roam into the map and coming from multiple sides. What's very important, especially on maps that's so crowded like Skyscraper. They're pinching them down that they must come from one side, and that side of multiple angles, you can massively just pinch down and say, you will get no standing chance against us coming forwards us from that position, because we are not granting you a second position. And that is maybe the main factor why we see Ghost Army being so reckoning and also being so hardly on and rough on ENVISION, just forcing them to come from the side that they want them to come from.
Yeah, it's all about those choke points that we talk about as well. But you can see that we are seeing the Grim getting up quite a bit of usage at the moment, trying to force these players out of their positions, and Claim is just slightly getting detected by it. And it does give that time to the attackers to try and push forward. You can see Shiro trying to get that breach open, Grim trying to look over towards that main breach outside. And it's going to be Klein who's able to find Dipsy. There will be Shiro and Vasi with a refrank, but Kanzi has one of their own. Kanzi gets another NT taken off, not expecting that. And now, as we see Jackal fall as well, it's all down to Rizraz on the other side of the map. Not a kill to their name, but...
I will really have to say that I'm missing the aggressiveness. Yes, we talked about the Grim giving so much intel, just making some pressure on the guys engaged, just maybe forcing out of the positions. But where's the aggressiveness? You get intel, and you're having enough intel to just build a push, but like give pressure on those defenders, but there's no pressure coming through. And that pressure is just being turned around immediately by Ghost Army saying, okay, if you're not pressurizing us, we will pressure against you, and we will get those kills.
Yeah, exactly. And you feel like they're trying to use the Grims rather than just going with a hot pink. They were just trying to wait for those cutoffs, and that's where we saw players to really start to step out and just start getting their picks. Rizraz will drop and be taken out by Tom, who's waiting down below, ready for this exact occasion in case someone wants to rotate to the black top. Again, a very strong round coming out from Ghost Army. Like you say, coordinated. They wasted the time, and maybe for ENVISION, they, like you say, didn't get as aggressive as they needed to be. They took control. They started moving over towards that dragon. I like that. But as soon as they started coming face to face with these defenders, they really just didn't seem to have the bite that you wanted to see from them. Now, though,
not only that, but also in the same perspective, you just see how Ghost Army immediately adapts from it. The play style, how they just roam back, get themselves in other positions, is just okay. They know for a fact that Envy is out of the moment, not having the balls to commit into these scenes, even though they have the intel. And so they just replace themselves and say, okay, if they just want to roam back, hold angles against us, and just hope and see if someone runs into those angles and then getting killed, we will just reposition ourselves and take them by surprise, and that works perfectly fine for Ghost Army.
Yeah, now, returning back to this site over by that CEO side, and seeing this mirror window setup that I love, and I just do want to talk a little bit more about it. I think I mentioned that last time we saw it, it really shuts down the movement that they've got in that hallway, because if someone's in a position where they can be spotted up against that breach, and someone's playing that mirror window that can see out to it, that just screams out of run out to me. I look at Ghost Army and they 100% will take advantage of that. Goldies, though, is going to get droned out early on. We'll be looking for an opening pick, but not even that. Just looking to waste that time, like you say. Time to get down there. We'll see a rotate come through, but I don't think we're going to see any real hard commit to these gunfights at the moment, unless Goldies really does decide that he's him.
If he decides he's him, yes. But of the moment, we just see ENVISION gathering some intel, just looking upon and lurking, seeing, okay, where are the roamers at? How is the spreading doing by Ghost Army, I mean. And that way, we just see the build-up coming in slow. We got the first in with Razy, now pushing into Karaoke. Yeah, he had some promptly ground open below him, but he's already inside. Not losing as much time, but we have already lost 1 minute. And we just, as of the moment now, we're just building up a take from Karaoke T into Shrine. May that be a little bit too slow.
1 minute really doesn't sound like a lot when you think about it, but it really can be when you think there's only 3 in a round. So the Candela will come out to clear out that Dragon area, and the pre-fire follows, but Goldie's able to land that C4, takes out Rizraz, and you'll see the Romans start rotating back to site. Now the attackers realize there's something down below they need to worry about as well, and so they're going to have to deal with that. MT will find one, but Iron has a refrag in the pocket. Now, they're not going for that push over towards the east side. They've realized that it just hasn't worked, so they're going to go through site. And this is the big problem. Umaisa over in Dragon will be looking to win that gunfight. Isn't going to be able to make it happen. We're going to take it down by Dipsy, who starts to move forward again. These Candelas, the last one rolls out, and while it is doing really, really good work, that's no more left. The players will swing out. Iron is able to find that kill. Will get taken down as well. But now it's down to the 2 versus 2. Both players of each side, one full HP, one on low. As nades go through to finish off playing, they will stop them there.
That's quietly fair dealt with when we're looking on the HP bars of the 2 remaining operators on both sides. What's up us now? The better positions are still in the hand of the defenders, but now Klein is getting pulled out. So now we got a Shiro and Enter on the upper hand. We only got Goldie left. Well, just look, 35 seconds. He needs to hold on. He knows for a fact there's one in drum close from terrace. The drone work will come in. Now he's getting spotted, and he immediately roams. There's no crucial part of being scared here. He commits into the scene, just wanting that first frag. He doesn't get it at the first, but he gets it the second, and he gets the double kill on the entry. And another time we see ENVISION having the intel. They know for a fact where he is, and they're just being a little bit too slow at it. And Goldie immediately meets them with a high pace, with a lot of pressure, just saying, okay, if you're not bringing pressure on me, I'll bring the pressure to you. And it works. Once again, we got a 4-1 lead. We're going into the 6th round now, the last round beforehand of the roll swap. And this is a crucial round. And we really need to pick a pace here and get this round, because a 5-1 is a harsh turnover.
Yeah, even on that defensive side of Skyscraper, and I feel like it comes down to double peaks at the end of that round. You know what? 30 seconds left on the clock. A 2 versus 1. Drones on the board. I fully expected that to be an ENVISION round, but that just wasn't it. Sorry. That just seemed to call me off guard. One player went through that doorway, and the other one was still on cameras. And as that gunfight's taking place, that player dies. And they're on the same door as well. If they're split apart, one Dragon, one on that doorway, then they start pushing in around at the same time. Well, if one of them dies, the refrag's dead. That wasn't the case. They just let Goldies play around them. And I feel like that kind of describes how the game's been so far. You've really just seen Ghost Army being able to play around ENVISION. And what really worries me, this is ENVISION's map pick. They wanted to cut the Skyscraper. And I know you said they didn't have a massive amount of success with it previously, but they wanted to come here. Now, it's not all doom and gloom for the side of ENVISION. This is the upper bracket semi-finals, I believe.
Yeah,
and they will still have that chance in the losers bracket, but that's just not somewhere you want to go. If you're a competitive team, the last place you want to be is the losers bracket, because that means you only have one chance. Right now, you still have that chance to burn.
Yeah, you have one burner life left after being in the upper bracket, but if we just look into the teams, I'm not saying any team's name here to just not getting called on, you didn't call our team, but if everyone in this crowd knows which teams is meeting them in a lower bracket, and Dane, there are a lot of bangers on there. So rather you will just try your best being in the upper and have that burner life as far as it goes, because you will need it. And if you get drafted down into the lower bracket, you're in for some serious trouble, because these teams have been fighting for weeks to not getting eliminated out of this tournament. So these teams may be also be a little bit more rougher to play against than the guys in the upper bracket because they know they have a buffer life left.
Right, the C4 comes through, and Goldies will get refagged very quickly. NT there, ready to deal with it, identifying the aromas down below. But Mighty, I've got to worry, it might be a little bit too late for getting this room cleared down to a T because, like you say, it's the last
Just
round
look at the
played onto
clock.
that defense. Yeah, half the round is taken off the board. And while they have got that player, they are going to find another one. A beautiful shot from Rizraz there, or where that player's there, but not going to find the Wamai. Or the Iron, sorry, as Iron stays there.
Unlucky not getting the shots done to the Malusi there. But if you look at the clock, yeah, we got 1 minute 10 left, and we need that push to commit into drums or into Shrine. Now we got Shrine clean, and the push comes up, and Rizraz picking up a triple kill, and now we're in a position. Envy does not lose this round. They don't have to lose this round. They get themselves a Shiro, picks down and puts down Kenzie for the last one, and so on. We get ourselves a 4-2 roll split.
Yeah, there we go.
Is well done by ENVISION and very important because every single team is manageable to get 4 defenses, even if you do it poorly, because it isn't that hard. But as of now, ENVISION getting the second point, potentially having 6 defenses where every single defense is hard to attack against. They could potentially looking forward to get it on without any overtime, but it will use a lot of work in 5 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to when you say, right, a 4-2 split is manageable, a 5-1 split is a really, really difficult task. It's the mentality. It's going into a game saying, right, okay, well, we haven't just got 1 round on the board. We've actually picked up 2. You have that buffer, just like you want to have in that bracket run as well. That was not a day for ENVISION. They played so much better in that round. Their roam clear was there, and it was aggressive. They took control of these key positions, and they weren't afraid to take those gunfights. They were confident in them, and they were able to win out those key positions, for example, by Top Dragon. Then they actually saw Ghost Army start to get a little bit too aggressive on the defense, and they managed to make that team feel uncomfortable. They've been doing so calmly. They managed to make them feel uncomfortable, that they were trying to take up these positions and just running into gunfights they couldn't win. But enough about that, because that's only half the game. This second half, though, will start off with an interesting frag coming out from Dipsy. Going to take off the Wamai, which is a pretty rough operator to lose very quickly, especially when you look at some of the util that's going to get brought.
First of that, but second of all, may there be some disturbance in like being a little bit nervous now? Yeah, you got yourself the 4-2. It was a very harsh one because you knew for a fact the clock was running against you completely the complete round. You got it, but I just wanted to ask you if it's just me that is wrong here and not seeing it. But did you also see how the temper changed in the hands of ENVISION, just bringing more force upon the defenders that 6th round, and just saying, okay, now we need to commit more. We need that point, and they got that. After my opinion, throughout now being more able, being a little bit more confident in themselves, pushing on.
Yeah, so okay, a player's gone down, but they were able to get a Monty. That's a huge pick in this round so far, especially with sitting on the defense, and whether that Monty shield is taken away, especially with that buff making Monty a bit more difficult to deal with, especially in a 1v1. Time ticking down, and we're seeing Ghost Army in a very similar situation to where we saw ENVISION before on their attacking side. They didn't really feel like they had much of a plan at the moment. They're still trying to have that conversation, figure it out, drone it out halfway through the round. And now, yes, they do have a player advantage, but the defenders have something arguably just more important, and that is time. Right now, Rizraz trying to use this soft wall to try and get some cheeky kills out there. As the nade follows, they're not going to be able to find it. And some horrible angles already brought out. Now, I'm starting to see why they wanted to pick it. The shotgun of Rizraz will be waiting for the pick, but it's down to these defenders just to put them back, waste as much time as possible before they have to take these gunfights.
I like to say it and bring it in many times, every single time when I'm seeing Skyscraper. Just look at the positionings of these 3 defenders, like placed in a triangle position. Yeah, they're spread apart. There's no like immediately, okay, I'm so close to you, I can immediately refrag you if I'm needed to. But they're positioned like the way every single push it may be incoming by the guys of Ghost Army. We are able to help each other and defending those. And here we see it. Here we get some drops done, but every single time Rizraz is able to refrag. Now he's gone, and Dipsy is pushed on the pressure, and Tom's putting in the next round. So and then they win their first attack, and it's a very important one for them to push through. Yes, they're only at 5-2 standing now, but they're only 2 points away of getting this map. And
Yeah,
being
not
2
even-
points away and you're in the attack is first of all very big, but another
Yeah.
factor is you don't have the leaving ground anymore in the hands of ENVISION to say, okay, we can still lose 2 potential defenses. Now they really say we need 4 immediately.
Yeah, because if you're on the side of ENVISION at the moment, you look at this and you say, well, they're 1 round away. Yeah, they're 2 rounds away from winning, but they're 1 round away from match point. And match point guarantees at least overtime if ENVISION want a chance of winning this. And that can be so difficult, especially to get those 5 rounds on the board straight away. Looking at this now, I've got to say, though, the ENVISION, I was very, very happy with how that round played out. Like you say, the positioning, the coordination. They had angles that they wouldn't necessarily able to swing right next to each other. They were able to cover each other. They were able to refrag each other. And I feel like it came down to a really good execute from Ghost Army rather than ENVISION playing it poorly. That's why we saw that round go down as we did. And I think the thing for me here is we're seeing them go there again. They want to try it again with all 5 players alive, hopefully not getting shot this time. And they're going to try that again. They're going to try and lock it in and lock it down just a little bit more because there was really, really good stuff in that round. They just feel like they might not have played it to the best of their abilities the first time.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, it is unfortunate that it happens with a team kill, but it's also the first crucial point taking in the hands of Ghost Army. I talked about it recently, and I will say it again. This map, yes, it's defender-sided, but the other thing that it is very much decided upon which team brings along the most mans, the most operators in the late round. And if you immediately, after the first 5-6 seconds, have to play 1 more man down from the beginning, it just makes it hard. Just not only to refrag the opponents, but also withhold positions and only withdraw yourself back on side because you have one less man on the board.
Yeah, very nice crossfire.
Dipsy getting killed by Toms, and that's a beautiful cross. This Monty is a monster. He's a standing drone, and another one, Wazy getting pulled out. And this round looks interestingly going into the hands of Ghost Army once again. And that's a factor. You lose 2 defenders so early on in the round. That is crucial, my dear felons. I was there.
Yeah, what we saw there was those 2 players didn't really have any exit opportunities there. But Shiro right now has 1 big one, and that is dropping down below. That Monty, like you say, that constant drone, that's also bulletproof as well, as long as you're looking from the front. You need to be aware of that. The crossfire, the flank watch is there from Clay, able to find Rizraz as Shiro gets taken down as well. NT will find an answer, but pushed out the Geisha. They can't stop a fight going down unless they get that direct eye contact. The Sharks are circling. Right now, Ghost Army, they are looking to add to their ranks, and they will find another Ghost to join them. That's going to be NT down in Geisha as we go into match point for the first time in this series.
Being clinched down by the Monty, giving live intel on where you are. You got 1 on the window in karaoke. You got 1 in drum. You also got 1 coming and pushing into shrine. There's no place for you to rather drop, or if you get to the drop and get dropping down below, there's no way that you're standing a chance coming back up in the second elevation because there's so many guys off Ghost Army's hands being put down everywhere. And this map could turn into a complete nightmare start-off run for ENVISION. We'd say it in the pre-show. They played it in the past days and lost it 7-1. They're so close, my dear friends, to lose it once again 7-2 in the best of 3 where they're picking this map.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a big key factor for your own mentality.
I mean, I got to say, Chalet, yeah, that's a map that you can typically go through and expect to be able to win it out. And the thing is, though, if you're going there on the back foot already, Ghost Army, they're warm. They're feeling it. The coordination's there. The communication is there, most importantly, as well. Everybody knows their role and are performing it really, really well. To go to Chalet, if we then see ENVISION be able to pick up Chalet, because they should be able to, they've got to go into Oregon. And as a team, if you can't play Oregon in competitive Siege, you've literally just started playing competitive Siege. You've got to be able to play it, and you've got to be able to play it well if you want anything to do in any scene at all. And if you get to this point as a team, you're a good team. ENVISION know how to play this, but so do Ghost Army. They are going to be strong. They're going to be aggressive unless we really see ENVISION put it to them on this defensive side. No margin for error now here. They have to play it that perfect game. changing up that defensive site. That's something I would like to see before, to be honest. Just put it behind you. Just say, right, it's done, it's over. Let's focus on CEO now. How are we going to focus on this? What's our roam game going to be? How are we going to compartmentalize this defense and make it layered so the attackers have to just fight for hurdle for hurdle? How is that going to happen?
First about how it's about to happen, but the second of all is just as you already mentioned, they gotta pick up 4 rounds back to back, and of them struggling so massively. Sorry for saying that, but it just looks like they're struggling so massively from the beginning on, and now especially when they get in the stronger set on a defense, they're still struggling away a bit just from the pure approachness that is brought to the table by Ghost Army, and they really not only need to get those 4 rounds back to back, but they need to find answers and adaptation ways to just pull the trigger and say, okay, you've had your run with two rounds now in the attack. You will not get further from this point.
Yeah, this mentality isn't just for this map. That has to continue on and on. Right now, though, we will see Goldie's pushing forward. Will get taken down as Rizraz is going to give a refrag. It gets taken away as well. Plane has an answer as well, and now in a 2 versus 4, it feels like this round is over just as quickly as it begun.
Everything depends now on the swing and the flank coming in by Dipsy. Dipsy's getting spotted. That sound is on the board, and Kenzie picking up this. Now it's Enter making himself a ledger potentially. It's a 1v2. It's still winnable. Don't get me wrong. But the time advantage now is not in the favor of the attack of the defenders, and Klein picking up Anti and so on. We get ourselves a 7-2 win on Skyscraper. ENVISION Esports losing their own map pick. Ghost Army picking up the first map. And now they're on the standing grounds of being their own champs, possibly on their own map pick on Chalet. And every pressure point available in this tournament is now pressurized on the backs and the shoulders of ENVISION game that really need to step up their game. But for sure, also need to find some adaptation ways of just getting rid of the pressure brought by Ghost Army. And not in like round 3, 4, 5. On the first round of Chalet, because they need that pressure to come onto their own side.
Yeah, they really can't afford for it to be a late burner in this game. That first game is the warm-up, and that's it. You've got to be hitting the ground running when we go on to Chalet. But as Ghost Army, as quickly as they're able to take it, we are going to be jumping on to a very short break before we move on forward, before we get back to this. We won't be gone for long. Me and Mighty will still be right here very, very soon. So make sure you don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
And so on, we are back with the second map on Chalet. Very soon to be, of course. We got ourselves a 7-1 lose by ENVISION on their own pick of Skyscraper. We both have our opinions, why they are struggling, what things are not on spot. But without me saying anything, I will just leave it to McCready what he thinks. Why did ENVISION struggle the way they did on Skyscraper?
Yeah, so I'm being put really put on the spot on this one. I feel like it's the coordination. They maybe weren't feeling like kind of lockstep with each other, because they have a team that can perform. They really can step up in massive moments and create some beautiful games to watch. But that just wasn't one of them. And you've got to look at that roster and say, well, where were they? Because they need to kind of wake up a bit more. I think they weren't just feeling it at the moment. They were just kind of still getting into the groove of things. And Ghost Army, I think I mentioned it at the start of the game. I was like, they can really take advantage if they're really aggressive. I think that's what we saw. Ghost Army didn't let them get into that situation. So we saw them use that tag timeout after they killed down to that match point. And they've just had this little bit of a break. So we need to see them really try and make the most of it at this point. Just clear out whatever thoughts have got in their heads and just say, right, it's the start of a series, 0-0. We're going in and we're going to get this win. This time they are going to be starting with the defense on a map like Chalet, which is pretty good because this is one of the more slightly attacker-sided maps, I believe. I'm not too sure on the stats at the moment. But as a defender, it's where you want to start, realistically. It's you typically want to go on the defense and say, right, you have to push us. And in that way, they can really decide the tempo of that round.
And I'm saying I'm forcing it into the brains of ENVISION because it's very needed to. Yes, we are on Chalet. It's a very out-based map, after my opinion. You can both very goodly attack that map, but you can also very well just defend it on very specific spots. And so then I call that they, first of all, should definitely look into at least getting a 3-3, but they should priority look into at least getting a 4-2 to put some pressure on Ghost Army. Because in the moment of Ghost Army getting the lead here in this first half, of maybe leading 4-2, this map will be through for ENVISION. Yes, they are in the attacker side and there are many chances left, but if you give Ghost Army like the Recon of leading 4-2 in the first half, ENVISION will have some major struggles coming back from because they're so inconsistent. The consistency is needed to be found early off, and so on. We go into the round, and let's hope ENVISION finds some consistency.
Yeah, because that's what we really need in this one. Going into Chalet, it's a map that you can quite liken to a map like Skyscraper. There are the choke points. There are the potential for really, really good flanks, unless your attackers are on the board, which is what we saw come down from Ghost Army. But looking at this map mainly, it is that tempo, the aggression. If we see Ghost Army really starting off very strong, then they'll just get comfortable. They'll just get in there. They'll be taking gunfights. They'll be winning them left, right, and center. And the flank will be there, and ENVISION won't be able to find their feet. That's what they've struggled with. That's what they've not been able to do, and that's what they need to try and find now. Going into this map, the map ban's the first one's the Monty. I'm not really surprised. We saw a lot of use of these shields as Blitz follows, being used for that droning potential. I mean, with the buff as well, they can comfortably take on more gunfights on their own, but ideally they don't want to. But we're seeing these operators taken off the board. That's not surprising me at all. You just hate to have a bulletproof drone just giving constant information and being able to call out little things that are happening, make players aware that somebody might be rotating off the flank. Solar's being taken off the board again. It doesn't really surprise me. You think about how much soft destruction is on a map like Chalet.
We got 3 bans so far, and none of these 3 bans is to be argued about. We got ourselves the Valkyrie as the very last ban, and also that just promptly thinking about how much breakable floorage that we have on Chalet on every single elevation of this map. And Valkyrie ban, or so neither a Pulse ban, are very likely to happen because there's so much verticality going on this map. So also that 4th ban is very predictable and also very reasonable of taking out these Valkyrie camps that can be so crucial of denying vertical plays, but also making it very hard to just play against it at vertical. For both the attackers, but also for the defenders. Because, yeah, you bring a Brava, you ban a Valkyrie, Valkyrie could potentially be some hacked gadgets that bring you a lot of advantage points in the hands of the attackers, but so on. It's a very likely ban to happen because there's just so much floorage to be covered that can be crucial on those standard plant spots.
And this is such a heavy utility-based lineup as well for the attackers. I mean, you saw the IQ being brought out, the knock as well. Now they are swapping off of them. But that's because they probably figured out what site it is. They're looking over towards bar game and they're realizing verticality is the way to go. They're only going to commit a couple of defenders up to this top floor on the side of ENVISION because they need to have that fluidity to be able to hold that bottom floor. You need that player in stock. You need somebody holding that piano hallway and that mez. If you're able to cut off these players, you're able to really shut down a defender's freedom of movement and the team in general. And in doing so, that's why you see Grim. That's why you see Capital coming through. And with the Brava, that just takes away the information. Look at the Thorn gadgets. Look at these cave claws. Look at the Capcan traps. It's just begging to be stolen from the attacking side. And
definitely. That way, you also need to watch your 6 when you're recovering back to base when you're when you're a defender, because these gadgets are not only about to hurt your opponents, but they will hurt yourself if Brava is on the case.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's very simple just to say, yeah, they got a Bravo, watch out, but it's something to remember. It's 5 seconds left on the round when you're trying to get to that defuse. That's a difficult thing to do. Now, the drones are going to start getting taken away from the side of ENVISION, trying to limit the information that Ghost Army get. Right now, nothing really coming through. They've made their entrance into Library. That's a trophy as well. Yeah, Library. That's the big thing here. The bees come out, they can start to take a lot more control, start to deal with some of these roamers. However, Shiro waiting with a long angle, not going to get caught out by those bees. We'll get that first pick.
And just the cruel importance of giving and granting yourself this first kill is so bigly huge. And another one in the hands with Shiro picking up a double kill. And this is huge. And you get a triple one with Klein and Iron also down with Dipsy. And this is looking perfect in the hands of ENVISION, just putting on pressure. The thing that they needed to find on the first map, they immediately found it here and could potentially push on for a flawless round as a beginning round into this second map, where they really are standing with their backs against the wall and saying, okay, now we are in a do or die. We need this.
Right, this is what we wanted to see on Skyscraper. This is how we wanted to see these rounds go down, as Goldies, left all by themselves, is just going to have to try and find something. Maybe by the time some time to think about what happened, what went wrong. But there's only one word for it, really. It's Shiro. So lines of sight, the gunfights that Shiro was able to win, just to be backed up by Dipsy as well. And now, yeah, Goldies is going to try and push the site, but there's nothing really going to happen. They're aware. They're being looked at from every angle. It's going to be so difficult to make this happen. But that round was strong. The defense, they knew what they needed to do. They have this utility in positions where it gives that information, whether Goldies shoots that Thorn Gadget or detonates it. It gives away the position. They know exactly where that player is, and now Goldies just doesn't want to push. Then you also have a player like Shiro who's willing to win these gunfights, and while NT will go down, 20 seconds left, nothing's really going to happen. I mean,
one down on the board, but no kill. Searchful by Goldies, trying his absolute best, getting annihilated out of her by Basie, picking up this flawless round, and that brings a lot of it that they need. It brings mentality back to your game. It brings mentality back to your players, and also just being a little more confident. I think they had a lack of confidence in themselves on the first map, maybe because they priorly lost it against another team, not so far off. But in the same now, they're back. They know for a fact, okay, we need this. We have no second chance anymore. We need this map, and they're beginning to work on it. They're working at it as a unit. There's like no one being far off from everyone else, trying to do their own thing, but it's like a team build. That is the main thing that Envy needs to adapt on and also play further on.
Yeah, I mean, I look at that round, I feel like ENVISION, that was a bigger round. That's just mentality. That's what that round was for me. Shiro picking these gunfights in, right, we win these. But then you look at it as well on a bigger scale of things and say, well, last game we only got a round win purely because of, well, you know, they were late. We actually only won one round in that first map. Well, this time they've earned another round, and they've earned it this time. Now, though, heading over towards this site, I believe it's Kitchen Dining. They don't want to go to that master bedroom or that bottom floor site just yet. They want to get this out the way, then worry about that bottom floor. And I quite like this if they're feeling it. Because if they're feeling it, this will give them that motivation, that momentum, heading on to those more default sites. Now, Shiro will take a little bit of damage early on from the attackers, but he's going to just be able to escape. Doesn't have to worry so much.
But also, yeah, it is a non-preferred site that we're seeing here with Kitchen Dining. It's very often played as the third rotation map spot, but they're bringing it immediately, and that may also be because of there's so many teams playing the other spots, like only playing Master, Bar, and also then the basement, and just leaving Kitchen Dining for themselves. And it's a spot that not so many teams pick up anymore, and that way also gives you an advantage. Yes, you're playing it yourself, and that way you often surprise the attackers by saying, okay, we don't know how to approach this spot.
Yeah, you know what I'd really like to see right now is this Aruni trick that we're actually seeing out. So while we will see NT get taken off the wall by Klein, the whole purpose of where we're seeing these Aruni gates in front of these mirror windows is so that they're proximity based. So when you step away from a Aruni gate, it will trigger, but if you step a bit too close, then it'll activate. So immediately, my first thought is, well, when some hard breach gadget goes down, you step away, the gate pops up,
Dipsy.
and it destroys the utility. And yeah, I'm just going to take a look at Dipsy here, unaware that this player is so close to Iron. Just waiting, biding time. The two players over by Solar, they don't need to do anything. If that hatch opens up, then they'll peek it. But
also now, just look at the positionings and also the withdrawment being placed here by ENVISION. Yeah, they said, okay, they're already entered in like office, piano side. They've earned those positions. And we're just withdrawing. And why are we withdrawing by Dipsy's hand? Because he knows for a fact that Rizrez is close upon him in Solar. And they're just playing it together, just, okay, saying, let them come to us as we need them to. And that way, Rizrez was not known of the position. They only knew that also Dipsy may be up there. And they tried to push on to them in Solar. And Riz was just being in the perfect position to just say, we take that. Now he's withdrawing his position. They heard the drop, but they don't know for a fact that there's a second guy up there, and Dipsy picking up Iron. Now he also withdraws his position. He's getting pushed by Klein. Klein gets the first kill, and that is a lucky one because Rizrez is not looking in a perfect direction. Also, Dipsy getting pulled. Double kill here, and it makes the score even from the man count here on the side of Ghost Army. Now Shiro picking up Tom, and that's important, just gaining that advantage back. With a drop hot on Klein, and Shiro picks up that kill as well. Perfect recovery by Envy. Yeah, they're getting outnumbered once again and saying, okay, we're pushing her back on a 2-2 stand. But immediately, nothing happens. ENVISION on Skyscraper, we're struggling to recover from those situations when they're saying, okay, we're withdrawal the situation out of having man advantage to not have equal mana count anymore. And here, they're just staying calm. They're holding their positions, knowing for a fact where their opponents are coming from, and then they act upon their own positions because they're steady on those own positions. There are no lack of confidence anymore in the hands of ENVISION. That is so nice to see.
Yeah, it took a while to get going, but now here is where it really is starting to show. And for me, it was that top floor. It was holding that solo position because as long as they are in that solo situation, those attackers cannot start looking at that verticality. But then Buck got taken down because of it. They had to take those gunfights to solo. They were losing those gunfights, and they couldn't get Buck in the positions they needed him to open up that floor. Because of that, then, well, yeah, player dropped down. Suddenly, they start looking down towards the floor. That's when we saw the players starting to push through. That's the coordination ENVISION can bring. That's what you want to see. Right now, though, they are going to go to that main site. It is that master bedroom and kitchen. And, yeah, master bedroom and CEO office, I believe it's called. And this is where we're going to see what ENVISION really, really want. This is the main site to go to. They've got the pulse down below. And while Tom is coming with that IQ, they don't really have any real other counters towards it. And nothing like a Jackal, nothing like a Nomad or anything. And it is all going to be down to Tom. Now they spot that pulse is down there. They can try and contest it. And they're all aware of where they step. So that does buy the attackers some time, but not maybe everything they need.
But also the pure adaptation brought here by Ghost Armor saying, okay, we got some eyes and visuals on that pulse and saying, okay, he's dining kitchen area. And then immediately they were throwing and saying, okay, we're not approaching anymore from the side of Trophy and Solar. We're just going on the front end side and go and say, we take K9 and also that double window into Mazine. Maybe also trying to bring some pressure on Library that they already done. They've marked out every single corner there. They know for a fact that Shiro is on those stairs because he's getting drawn up. But now they have a stronghold against him. They have both Shiro and also Dipsy on that shield position that they need to pull out.
Yeah. Beeper's starting to go off.
Must come in hot.
Yeah, Beeper's starting to go off. Cool. Starting to come through for a defensive side. You're very much aware that this push is going to follow. Shiro, look for that drone. It's unable to get it. The main priority here, though, is that player down below. Shiro taken off the board as Tom's able to win it out on the blue stairs. And suddenly, Dipsy's left all by themselves in Piano Hallway. Aware that these players are coming, not necessarily aware from just yet. That pulse also not going to be any use until they start getting closer and more. That player towards K9 will start applying pressure. Dipsy will back up. Fassy looks for the kill. Dipsy's going to be the one to find it as Rizraz finds one of their own. Put this in a 4 versus 3. Time to get down. That player still down below with the C4 will be essential at the end of the round. And as Util starts to come through, a minute left on the clock. Plane looks towards K9, has to start pushing, has to be aware of the player, but it's going to be Tom who's able to find that Rizraz, jumps in on half wall, looks to the player, over towards it, gets him off the board.
Perfect.
Pulse is still down below with the C4, and if they can take Piano, they can start to get that plan. It's all down to Dipsy though, as Dipsy gets a kill. The pings come out, NT just waiting. The Claymore goes out. It's unable to find its kill. It's going to be Tom getting one. And now it's all down to NT down below. Has to push up Solar Stairs. And with 20 seconds ticking down on the clock, they've got to be aware that plan's going down. Rotate over towards bathroom. And now Tom has to look at holding this cover. We'll be looking for the gunfight. We'll get it. And a beautiful ace to give Ghost Army a much-needed round on the board.
And that round was well-deserved. Not only because Ghost Army put in a lot of work just knocking out the intel that they need to find out, okay, where are the positionings at on Envy, but also just saying, okay, we need to clear those key positions one by one. Just going in through bar gaming down below, knowing, okay, Shiro on those library stairs, droning him out by double drones, having live intel on him, bringing pressure on him by the IQ, cleaning that area. Then they immediately push back on Dipsy, needing to withdraw his position in the library hall, recovering back to Piano. And so then you have free play on that frontal and side of the second elevation, and then just bring more pressure. Unluckily though, for NT, not being completely in his head straight here in that moment, with the pulse, knocking out the C4, not connecting upon the ace because he's still prone outside of K9 on the K9 door,
It's a
not
robbery,
bringing
I wanna
enough
say.
pressure point on blast radius into killing him, because then we would have a fair and square 1v1. That would also be been harsh for him to take, but it wouldn't be a 2 against 4.
Yeah, it would have been a much better situation. In the 1v1, as a pulse, you just sit down below and you wait for them to start planting. Or you push up top and you realize, well, they're going to plant. I'm just going to go for the push, swing them, time ticking down. You can't lose it. Having that second player is round winning at that point, and that's why you feel like the C4 was really, really rough. Regardless, though, it is another round, and ENVISION will have to deal with it. Iron running in, looks for 1 kill, doesn't expect the second. It's going to be Rizraz finding 1. The refract does come through as Kenzie gets another and gets 2 players to open things up, but not after losing that Ash. The aggression that we see Ghost Army coming out with very, very heavily on Skyscraper. Now, this
But
is
also,
very
once
different
again
from what we
there.
saw last time. Yeah.
Just look into Ghost Army now bringing back the aggressiveness and also the pressure that they brought on Skyscraper, and they immediately know for a fact, okay, there's some guy, there's one guy holding dining, the second one in the dining hallway wasn't well known. That put a little bit of stress on them, putting out Iron here with his Ash, but immediately the big double refrag by Klein, not by Klein, by Kenzie, just joining him on that push, bringing the pressure, bringing the aggressiveness, is not only giving them 2 kills and also being ahead in man count, but it also granted them a key position with taking kitchen in both dining to just cancel that position to be withhold onto the side, but also being an angle to recover back on side for the defenders.
Here's what I really like seeing right now. Those barricades over towards that bathroom hallway, over towards the master bedroom hallway, it's given that information all the day for Shiro to play off the back of, aware that these players are coming from and knowing exactly where they're coming from as well. Gives them a lot more freedom to kind of pick their fights, to decide whether they want to take these gunfights, realizing they need to back off. They need to play a lot more safer. And right now, the attackers, they do have control of this top floor. Buck is alive in this part of the round now, so we'll be able to have that massive impact. And there's no Valkyrie, no Pulse this time. But there's going to be no potential for these C4s to get these kills. It's going to be down to his army impacts, and they're probably going to keep them for the later stages in the round. But we are slowly approaching 50 seconds ticking down on the clock, and it looks like the attackers, they have all the pressure points, all these key positions that they are going to need as the drones start rotating forward. Kanzi looks over for another kill, isn't able to find it just yet. We'll get that.
Putting on a lot of pressure here and a lot of damage onto Vazy, but it's really like a stand-up game. Now we got a lead here in man count, a double man count in the hands of Ghost Army. They're pushing a lot of putting a lot of pressure on. Shiro tries to pull up onto Library, does not get any kills done there, and then immediately it's Vazy against 4, Vazy against 3, and he can't put up the second one. As I wanted to say, it's all about which team puts down the main fragger of the opponents first. Is it Tom to be shut down, or is it Shiro? It was Shiro, and that way it led Ghost Army having a full-on spot control, both from the upper side elevation level, but also coming down from Fireplace, just putting the pressure onto the side, and there was really nowhere for Vazy to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the flank watch in that situation as well. Like you say, these players trying to go upstairs, just getting shut down straight away. I'm really happy with the aggression that we're seeing from Ghost Army. This is what I wanted to see coming out from Skyscraper. But in the same vein, this is what I want to see from Envy. They've been a lot more confident with these gunfights. They've been a lot more awake. We just need to see somebody else on each team really start to step up in the same way these fraggers have. I mean, Tom and Shiro, we know they can frag. But like you say, it's who gets killed first. Looking at this as a player from either side, you want to say, that's our player to kill. And then suddenly we just win a round. Looking at it from a coach's point of view, that's the nightmare scenario. If you lose Shiro or you lose Tom, and you're writing off rounds because of it, that's a problem. I need to see somebody like, for example, maybe Iron or Goldie starting to pick up a couple of frags here and there, or maybe Kanzi. That was a beautiful couple of kills. Something like that from the attack. And on the flip side, maybe somebody like NT or Dipsy start to really carry their weight on that side. Right now, though, going back to Dining Kitchen, they have a very similar setup to what they had before. And the question is, are they going to adapt it at all, or are we going to see the attackers want to make that change?
And one more adaptation I really think and we will needed to put into perspective is being ready on time. As we saw, the push came in hot by Ghost Army last round on that dining spot. Completely caught them off guard. Yes, there was one in dining hall annihilating one of those two pushing, but also he wasn't ready for that situation. And once again here, I said it, be ready on time. And as soon as the first pressure points are put on by Ghost Army, we see another round where two of Envy's most recent guys that are needed to push up a little bit more themselves into the game are falling through the roster. Basically putting one down on the hands of Goldies, but immediately he also gets refragged by Iron. Iron not picking up his first kill in this match. And we see a 4 against 2 split. And this round is turning into a nightmare as well for Envy, with now Ghost Army being in the recon spot, just putting pressure in with a double man count.
Yeah, good crossfires, good roam clear, good crossfires and refragability coming out from that side so far with Ghost Army. Now they're just biding their time. They're going to be holding some of these angles, realizing we have half the round. I think this is the most we've seen a team on the attack really have to work with when it comes to this final execute. And like you say, it's having that 2-to-1 player advantage. Dipsy, though, will be able to find Tom, and it's now down to the rest of the team to bring that back. But as we see, Klane's able to find one, and we'll have to worry about that Frostmat when they jump in, which means Shara's going to have a beautiful opportunity to get killed. Now, we said we want to see other people pop off, but right now, if we need anyone to clutch up around, it's going to be Shara. Playing over towards that dining spot to play towards West Main, picks them off. Holds over towards that trophy window. Aware that plate's going to be coming through. Looks at West Main, finds that kill as well. And now it's down to the 1 versus 1. It's all down to Klane on the ace. The Shara doesn't know where this player is. 45 seconds ticking down. Going to hear where that player is breaking that barbed wire. The window, the cam gets popped. And now West Main, 35 seconds, have to push.
You will have to push. And the time is running against him, though. Klane not making his position known with these bullets just getting in front of the nose of Shiro there. And the pressure is on. Shiro with the trying to flank bait. Now really flanking on the situation. He doesn't see the eyes on Klane, and Klane puts him down. And now we got ourselves the lead for Team Ghost Army. Ghost Army now in the lead on their own map pick, on map number just of the evening, and so on. I called it. We are in the nightmare situation. Envy really needs to pick up this 6th round to get an eager 3-3 roll swap, because as soon as the guys of Ghost Army picks up this 6th round and getting in with a 4-2 roll swap, we're in for a nightmare of ENVISION on the 2nd map. They really need to win and promptly to have a chance on going onto the decider.
Yeah, we saw how dominant Ghost Army was when it came to their attacking side, when it came to them playing on the defense on Skyscraper. Chalet, I don't expect it to be much more different. The only difference is how is ENVISION how are they going to play it? How are they going to deal with this? They really performed much better on their defensive side. I'm a lot more happy about the coordination, the positioning that we're seeing from this team. But on the attack, I do worry, especially if they don't pick up this round, like you say, because then they've got to go onto that attack and win 4 rounds on the trot just to get to that match point situation. And then that's just to push us through to Oregon as well. So for Ghost Army, this is a huge round to win. And the same for ENVISION, just different reasons why. And you've got to think ENVISION, they're going to be fending off at this point, going down to that lower bracket, which is the last thing anybody wants. And a lot of people do favor them to win this, most importantly, the production team and the socials as well, heavily backing ENVISION on this one.
Definitely, and there's a lot of pressure with coming in here by Ghost Army, and Iron picking up the first, picking up a second, and it's once again this be ready on time, know where the positions that you need to withhold as long as you need them. And Iron just immediately, there's no intel coming in. He's going in bravely. He's going in confident. And what does it bring him? It brings him another double kill. And look at him. Iron wasn't on the board for the past few rounds. He just came on it last round. And now he's going from 1 kill in 1 round with 4 rounds prior, not getting a single kill, but just immediately pushing in, putting pressure on, getting a double kill. Beautiful comeback here by Sharu, picking up the first one off the boards from Ghost Army. But ENVISION really needs to straighten up themselves. They can't lose those first interrogations with just withdrawing 2 of their own guys, like promptly in the first seconds.
Yeah, 100%. Now we look at Tom and NT each getting a kill, Shiro and Tom taking off the board as well. And like you say, it's these rounds, it's so early into it, I don't think ENVISION are ready for these gunfights. And I think I called out Iron for their KD earlier in this, in a couple of rounds ago, and that's exactly what they let them. They listened to me and they said, right, yeah, you know, Creedy's right. Let's start picking up the gunfight. Let's start winning these engagements. And now the 3 versus 2. When you look at HP, it might as well be a 2 versus 2. But Goldies is going to be there with that knock, able to find NT. Vasi has to try and find an answer, but a player down below of Kanzi is going to take them down. And the 4-2 split you were dreading has come to fruition. Looks like ENVISION are going to have a mountain to climb, and we have to hope that they brought their hiking shoes.
They will not only need to find their hiking shoes, they need to find those spikes to put on those. Because this is not a single mountain they're climbing. This is K2 or Mount Everest. Because not only promptly seeing how unprepared ENVISION is for these pushes coming in hot by Ghost Army, but also in every single gunfight that we have seen in the past 2 rounds, every single time ENVISION is standing alone against multi-angle. Ghost Army is multi-angling every single gunfight. They're approaching from multiple angles, promptly onto the same operator they want to get out and through the roster and kill him. This withdraws from the guys into dining area 2 times prior in the last 2 rounds. It also emits when they're having the advantage and pushing on to the last roamer or the last operator standing. As we also saw here by the Lamai, he immediately gets withdrawn. 1 coming in hot from library hallway, 1 down in lobby and fireplace, immediately rocking down to these stairs. The last one coming down from beneath from basement, pushing on. There we got 3 guys making pressure from 3 different directions on the same guy. You can get 1, you can maybe get 2, but you won't get all 3 of them. And the pressure just purely brought by Ghost Army, ENVISION is not finding any type of solutions on that gameplay, and that is struggling them so intolerably hard.
And that's the thing, like you say about that on the defensive side, that they're struggling to find their feet on it. They don't really know what they want to do with these at the end of these rounds. And that worries me on the attack, because when they're on the attack, they have to be the ones driving the pace of this game. They have to be making the effort to try and take these gunfights, positioning themselves like we saw Ghost Army doing. And when that isn't happening, that's something Ghost Army is just going to take advantage of, and it just drive constantly. So, yeah, the must-win round is going to be on that floor for these roamers. Clayton's able to find Dipsy and will be able to take them off the board very, very quickly. That's the Ying. That's so much utility, so much aggression just removed. Not to mention Dipsy with the 5 and 6 kills at the moment. Nobody else from the side of ENVISION have entered the building just yet, aside from the players that are down below. Those players aren't going to have that impact in that entry, and taking that library is such a key position to have as well. It allows you to get over towards piano. It allows you to stop these flanks from coming through, and most importantly, it allows you to comfortably start to take that breach. Time ticking down, more magnets going to start taking place, and Util will start to drone through and try and take out Bomb Shield, but they're going to swing, they're going to look for a gunfight. Not going to happen as Shiro takes him off the board.
Important approach here from ENVISION. Just now they're bringing pressure, they're bringing a drone in, and they're now beginning to do the same thing the Ghost Army did to them priorly, just bringing multiple angles on the same guy, just talking with each other and saying which are the positions that we have to be taking firstly and promptly. And that they're doing. They're droning him out, putting multiple angles on and saying, okay, at least if he pressurizes against one of us, we immediately have another one holding a restraining angle or a peeking angle to then put some pressure on him. Because he will only get 1. He won't get 2 of us. And that is the pressure that Envy needs to bring. Kenzie's the last one standing here against 3. He's completely blinded, and now we will see and must see the approach of ENVISION, just putting pressure on multiple angles at once, just not leave this ground, and they're doing it. They're pushing on, having multiple angles, multiple sides possible, pushing on to this guy, and they're knocking on the round, and that's important. They're not losing any rounds from the first round in the attack, and they just really need to hold that pace and knock back on Ghost Army every single point that they are getting onto.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that end round. I mean, I'm personally not a big fan of where Kenzie was playing over towards that situation in that 1 versus 3, with the main breach being opened up, having the players over towards piano. But you got to say, from ENVISION, that's the positioning. That's where it is. You got that breach opening up. The players on that K9 window, they're able to shut down either that door or that window or that breach. And then the players over towards the library, they can start pressuring that piano. They're in a good situation. And then the buck down below as well. That was much, much better from ENVISION. That was a strong attacking round. I'm very happy to see that. I just need to see it happen a little bit more. Going back to this side, though, this is a perfect opportunity for that. You can see we haven't really seen many changes to the lineup of the side of ENVISION at the moment. They're swapping out that Grim to get that Ying back, and I'm not really surprised because we think about how well they were able to take out that piano and able to displace that player. When you think of doing that with a Ying on the board eventually, then it just becomes so much easier. time. Gonna go on to that. Gonna get the attackers coming in for another crack at this site, and I really back ENVISION. I really want to see what they do here. I want to make sure that they get a little bit more than what they had last time. They want a stronger round than before. I'm quite liking the utility decision on this main breach. They've got the mute jammers, so as soon as that buck goes down below and gets them, they've just got K-Claw waiting as well, so that's not a problem either. Drones will go into positions they need to be in to make sure these players are dealt with. The question is, do they look below? No, they do not. Goalies gets away with the double. And yeah, you might get refragged down now, but it doesn't even matter. That is the Flores and the Nomad taken off the board. The utility is gone, and so the air jabs. And Dipsy goes down as well. No way, Goalies gets away with this. Will confirm the kill. And they just really can't make it back to side now. Jumps out, goes towards the main door. No, that doesn't happen. I'm sorry.
That would have been outrageous. If he got Rizraz in that situation, I would just quit the cast. I would immediately quit the cast.
I would have walked out, yeah. I would be with you. That should not happen. It was a huge round. And you've got to look at it as nothing but a blunder for the side of ENVISION there, really.
But first of all, if we just look back on the first situation once again, we have talked about it and talked through it so often that we also say we got the feeling of ENVISION not being ready when they needed to be. And once again here, you have two guys standing close on a double window, both going into the drone. You're just promptly asking if someone is standing close, and you know for a fact someone will be in library for sure, or be close, and you're just asking for take us.
There's no claymores. It was a Nomad as well.
You got a Nomad, yeah, you got claymores, but also you got two guys, and it's one sentence in communication saying, okay, I'm droning it out for you, hold me. And that's a standard procedure. You're not going two guys on the same window, throwing in the same drones, and no one is holding your backs. As I said, for the first of all, it's crucial. For the other side, it's some kind of, you need to do a bootcamp and say, okay, I gotta relearn how Siege functions. Because that, as I mentioned earlier, it's just asking, take me out. I don't want to play it.
Yeah, take him out on a date with a sniper rifle. Well, looks like Ghost Army decided on the rifle. Now though, ENVISION, 40 seconds to get down on the clock. They're not out of it just yet, but they are definitely not in it at the moment. The shotgun will come through, but it's the TCSG of Claim that's going to be taking them down. And Rizraz will be looking for the gunfight. Here's the C4 goes through, doesn't get taken down because C4 hits the electrified wall. Claim gets a little bit greedy on that one and gets taken off the board. Now Rizraz with 15 seconds ticking down. Hamper look towards a plant, will get pushed into a crossfire, and Kenzie will close out another round in favor of Ghost Army. And it's this early round, we've got to see more droning. Like, I don't know how many times I can mention it, so we should probably stop, right? No, it's such an important part of Siege. You cannot miss out on droning.
Our work here is casting this match. And if teams bring things where we clearly see lack of things not happening that are really crucially, and also being the main causes and the main reasons why teams are not picking up the rounds that they should, and also not being able to pick up the approaches that they are wanting to play, we will draw on that. We will say it every single round necessary as far as the team are not hearing and listening to us. Another factor, we're missing so much useful intel, and also we are still in the need of getting Envy being ready when they're needed to be. They have their approaches right, they have their strat books, I'm sure and clear about that. But the main thing that matters as of the moment is just saying, okay, when we adapt and we say we're approaching this map, this spot, we need to be ready to be met high and early on. Because Ghost Army is not from yesterday that they have shown us they want to meet you high. They showed it from the first round beginning on Skyscraper. So that should not be any type of surprise for you at Envy saying, okay, they're meeting us high, they're meeting us very quickly. So be ready for those gunfights, because they will come in hot, and they're not coming in just 1 or 2 rounds at a map. They're coming in every single time when Ghost Army is in the defense.
Yeah, I mean, Ghost Army, they want these early gunfights. They are taking them, and at the moment, they are winning them, purely because, like we say, ENVISION don't feel ready for them at the moment. Right now, though, looks like ENVISION bringing this ammo on the board, getting this Brava, getting all this utility, might be looking to make something happen, try and capture some of that energy. So the frag grenades off the gridlock will start over towards Solar. Those Drag Stingers probably going to get on those stairs now they've forced Frost out of position. But the verticality is going to start getting made. Now, though, drones come through. The players are aware that they are looking for this, and will start reinforcing over towards that south side. Make sure that
it's also theirs. as you knew for a fact that Frost was on those solo stairs, when you're nading her out, I was in the need of just saying, okay, I missed someone holding an angle from potentially from dining hall, from trophy window, just saying, okay, when she needs to drop and just run away from these stairs because of a panic situation, it is some sort of a 50-50, but it's the most time away. It's a free kill that you can pick up because it's a panic situation brought into the game. Goldie picking up the first kill here by Shiro. No, the second kill, the refrag. Anti picking up another kill. And that way we got both Tom and Iron falling through the roster. It's only Goldie, Plane, and Kenzie left. And these players, yes, they are outnumbered in mans, but they immediately refrag that. Goldie picking up another kill on Riz Raz. So we got ourselves a 3 against 3 situation. Goldie is getting hot on the spot here.
Yeah, definitely not playing like a Goldie at the moment, but NT is able to find a kill onto Klein. So now Goldie's on site is all alone, but they are not alone in this map. They do have Kenzie up on that top floor, while Goldies will try and do as much as they can to get every kill on the board with 50 seconds left on the clock. It's not all going to be down to them. The player on the hash, the player above, going to be using this verticality while a jump goes through. Goldie is able to find that kill, gets a third of their own, looks to make it a fourth, isn't going to be able to make it happen as NT pushes forward and able to find a second as well. Kenzie gets taken down, and that is going to be that kitchen dining going in favor of the attackers. But like you say, it's too much closer than it needs to be. I mean, we're seeing a lot of these gunfights, a lot of these situations where, like you say, you can very easily cut these players off. In fact, we saw the Frost drop back, and a couple of seconds later, we're seeing Amaru down in the garage, holding the angle onto those Solarium stairs. You got to think, why couldn't Gridlock just wait a second later? Sure, it worked out that round, but might it work out another one?
It might not. That may be the case that the team's got to think about. But how important was that round? But still, I'm missing something in the hands of ENVISION. ENVISION lost once again. Every single round that I see the Ghost Army brings a Frost to the table, I immediately see at least one, but not also many rounds in the prior that we have seen so far. ENVISION is losing 1 or 2 guys into these front masts. That's not about to happen. Come on, we are in the highest tier possible for console in the league. We're into the ends of the season.
Yep.
You really need to read your intel. And the intel that you had, especially on West Main, and then still you drop yourself into a Frost mat in the late round where someone is holding your angle, that's a no-no. That's a complete no-go. You need to get your intel straight. You need also to remember and give these calls through. Even though you're not the guy that droned out that Frost mat, you need to remember, because these points, if you lose someone on the late approach, that's the moment where you need to be the calmest. You don't need to be calm at all in the first minute or 1.5 minutes. It's the last seconds of the round where you need to do the final approach. That's where you need to be the calmest that you can be. And that's where you need to have the intel on the approach. If you don't have those, your opponent will get you cold.
Oh yeah, 100%. Now, looking at this round, ENVISION aware that if they win this, they can get around. They can draw even. But right now, Goldie is going to do a lot of damage to Shiro. Towards that West Main, definitely a horrible situation for that Ash at the one-way angle. Has to reposition, won't make that mistake again. Now, we're seeing the frag grenade go down onto that solar stairs. Won't be able to find its target. And while the needs are being used, you can see that Kingsley is aware that, well, they're probably not going to feel any pressure. But we can see Fenrir actually being brought onto the board. This sort of hasn't happened in the last game as we saw them getting banned out. Alongside that, alongside the Solus, as Sharo finds Tom taking out that top frag, and now the rest of Ghost Army have started to step up. Not in a massive way, but then it's only down to Claim.
But also here, we got to bring into the table. I've seen it in chat like twice or 3 times now. That the guys of Ghost Army bring a lot of risky plays, a lot of risky player rounds here into this match. But it is high risk, high reward, and every single time there is no lack of confidence. I will say it once more in the hands of Ghost Army. As soon as they know your position, as soon as they got intel on you, they will swing you. They will force you into these gunfights. And as a matter of fact, from now, Goldie's a special. Every time he commits in, now he loses one situation, but the most situation he commits into, he always draws out of it as the winner. And that's a key factor also here for Ghost Army. But now ENVISION is up in man count. They have 50 seconds close to build their last approach, but they are not soon aware of enough intel, as I think Another time, Brava gets intel denied. Kenzie's picking up Rizraz. That is the Brava out of the roster. And so on, 2 against 2, and all positions in the hands of Ghost Army. As of also Dipsy now clearing off, charging off with his sense into the spot and the holding from the hatch. Kenzie rocking through, hearing the plant, getting the kill onto the triple, onto Dipsy. Now Andy is in every single need. There are no seconds left. He drops hot, and Klein also that ways knows the drop will come. And that way, we got ourselves another round in the Ghost Army hands. But it's not only one random round, my dear fellas. It is match point winning round. And that's so on. Round 11, 6-4 standing. And it is all or nothing for ENVISION. They need to pick up this round. As of soon, they're losing the advantage and they're losing this round. They're going to the lower bracket.
Yeah, and quite literally, we mentioned it, no one wants to be there. You want to be in that upper bracket as long as possible. You want to be the team to beat. And right now, ENVISION just aren't living up to scratch at the moment. And as well, if they lose this, well, suddenly that means they are going to lose their flawless streak. They've been flawless in phase 1 at the moment. In stage 1, sorry. But that is set to change at the moment if they are going to lose this. But it's not over yet. We have seen some incredible plays coming out from ENVISION at the moment. The thing is, like I say, that's 2 more rounds just to get them to overtime. And then they got to win overtime. But then that's not even it. They've got to go to Oregon, and they've got to deal with that. So I think for me, looking at these rounds, a lot of this verticality, especially on the bottom floor sites, really haven't been dealt with as well as it should have been. We've seen a lot of road defenders sat upstairs when they could have, when we get to the late stages of the execute. And that's my big problem is we're seeing the defenders having a little bit too much freedom of movement. And because of that, suddenly these end games are going a lot more defender favored. Granted, you're having some moments they're able to bring rounds back, like we saw just before the last one, but it's not something I bank on. I need to see this roam clear dealt with a little bit quicker. Right now, though, the question is, will ENVISION even have a chance? Because Ghost Army, they've played with their site rotations very, very smartly. They've gone down to that back to that kitchen dining and won that. Now that means they get to win on what some would consider the most comfortable round to win. Going over towards that CEO master bedroom. Now, though, the attackers, well, they've attacked it before. They've done okay on it. And looking at this again, they're going to try and start taking that solo pressure. It's something they were able to do before, but as Dipsy gets taken out of the game, it is not looking good. Yeah.
It's not a gunfight. It is a disconnect. And that is a disconnect not only very unneeded in this type of case, in this situation, but it's one of the most hurting ones. Because this, on this, especially on the master bedroom office side, it's a spot that immediately just picks out and says, okay, this is time to say goodbye. I did not quite catch what Operator Dipsy brought into the table. Could potentially have been the hard breach here. So we got no hard breach gadgets after all on this side. Only 1.5 minutes left to go. This does not look good for ENVISION. As of Shiro picking up Iron, that's very important. Getting back on the man count, making it even. And now we really need ENVISION to bring a lot of pressure, bring intel, get in together, and also push on and beyond their own strengths now. Only 1 minute left, only 1 minute 10 left, and they're still out of the building. There are no entries done so far, and there's still so much ground to be cleared.
Yeah, 9 versus 9 in 4 versus 4 in the lobby at the moment, and with a minute left on the clock, time ticking down only means one thing's going to happen, and it's going to be a bloodbath. But like you see, none of the attackers are currently in the building, which means Tom's going to be able to pop off, finds the first good onto Rizraz. Goldie's going to pop up as soon as the player goes into Solar. Able to find that Capital. It's going to happen. Looks for the last player on that Solar. Goldie's has to try and find it. Klein gets
Iron
it.
already
It's going to be
vacation.
Iron closing it down and giving Ghost Army that win and keeping them in that upper bracket. ENVISION will go knockdown.
I just want to say, there's a little bit of toxicness going on with the teams here. As if we just see Iron immediately, okay, he isn't dead yet, but he knows for a fact, okay, I'm the farthest one out. I'm just saying, okay, I'm leaving this. I'm taking a vacation. We're further through, and so on. GG well played, though, for both teams. A little bit disappointed in how ENVISION presented themselves, because I know the main part of that roster and the majority of their players, and I know for a fact this was far off from what they normally bring to the table. This is far off from what we're planning from them to see. and so on. Then, yeah, they lost their buff alive. Now they're going down into lower bracket. We will surely look into that very early on.
Yeah.
But now it's very much deal with it. Go down, get your head straight. And for the next play that you got in the lower bracket, you really, really are prompted to see and say, now it's all or nothing. We got no more standing chances of saying, okay, we still have some buffer left. There's no buffer left. Let me tell you that. Now it's from the first map you play, you're immediately with your backs against the wall. It's do or die. And that is the main key fact that you need to get into your head. Especially, I told about it earlier. We have some bang teams down there. We got Fanex, we got MG Aspire, we got Molotov Gang, we got Team Frequency down there. These are teams that are hardly to beat because they're all teams that bring a lot of passion, a lot of time into their strat books, and so on. Then,
yeah,
even it doesn't matter who you meet. You know for a fact the match that you will have next week is as much hard as this one, if it not maybe harder. Because as I told from earlier, this team has been fighting for weeks to be where they are at the lower bracket. So then they will be forcing ENVISION to bring their best to the table next week.
It's like we say, they really don't want to be down there because they don't have another chance. If they lose there, they lose for good. They're going to go up against teams that have already been in that situation. They've been fighting for survival much longer. And that's where I really feel like ENVISION are going to really need to step up and make sure that they cannot skip a beat. And I feel like at least in Chalet, that was a much better game for them. And it's a much better game for their support team as well, because that's what's really highlighting some of these issues. We've got to see coordination. We've got to see just micro decision-making. These are the things that they're going to have to pay a little bit more attention to. Are we both droning something at the same time? Are we maybe getting the timing of these cutoffs right when we should be? That's what I want to see ENVISION really step up on. And I'm so excited for this next game. Mind you, though, I'll give Ghost Army credit. They played really well, and they really deserve that victory, and they really do deserve to be where they are right now. For the time being, though, I do believe we're going to be focusing a lot more on the lower bracket for the rest of this week, and a lot more of these teams that are going to be playing. And I'm looking forward to it so much. Do you know what teams we've got coming up tomorrow?
Let me just have a quick look. I think we have ourselves definitely a match with Ryuga against Entropy tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think that is a German giant match. Both these teams have been bringing a lot to the table, even more with every single respect for every single team participating. But these teams have been performing on a different basis, on a different level, especially also with just thinking that Entropy is looking for another win in ESA. I think that will be primarily their 5th win in ESA history that they are looking for this season. And that tells you something. They're hot. They're on the board, and they want to say, we're hungry for more. We have had 4, but we won 5.
Yeah, and well, if they're good enough to do it, they might just do exactly that. But there's only one way you're going to find out, like the one way we found out who's going to win this game, and that is by paying attention. Now, check out all the socials if you can. They'll be linked in, and you do not want to miss anything at all. If you want to get involved at all, just join the Discord, whether it be for the community, for the games, or just to kind of talk some smack about what you've seen so far. Most importantly, have a wonderful day. I've been McCready. Joining me today is Mighty again, and we've got Leah Voigt on the production, and I believe it's OOT Knox. I think I'm saying that right.
Oh, Knox, yes.
Oh, Knox. Yeah, on the Observer, making it look so beautiful. But that's it. Gonna be it from us tonight. So have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you then.